Hello everyone, this is a video that is very important when it comes to being happy and succeeding in life, and one of the messages that I'm going to talk about refers on how to realize if you have Disney programming, this is how I call it, and how to escape it, which is going to, even just this video can transform your life if you absorb what I'm saying, so please pay attention. Once upon a time, a long time ago, when I started to try to understand and learn about positive psychology and self-development and turning your life around and all of that shit, because I was a fanatic, like I was more fanatic than the people who did Crusaders in the Middle Ages, I realized that very, very often the advice or the picture that was portrayed into that media didn't have anything to do with my life. For example, it used to say that you should not lower your standards, you shouldn't settle for anything else than a guy who loves you, who is consistent, who is respectful, who is always there for you, who embraces your individuality, who is nurturing your inner child, who is watering your blossom grapes, and all of that shit. There was only one tiny problem into all of this nice read, because you read it and it feels nice, but then you try to find it in real life and it's nowhere to be found. I once made a list with all the characteristics that a partner should have, or a friend should have, or a family member should have, and I couldn't even find one person that could actually match up this list. And those lists were coming from reputable sites, from people with PhDs in psychology and psychiatry, from millionaire life coaches, and so on. And yet, not only I haven't met anyone personally, because you could say, okay, first of all, you're a creeper, you attract creepers, but I didn't see anyone in my environment who actually met people like that. So I've come with my own personal conclusion that there is this Disney idea that not only Disney actually shows it and promotes it, but modern psychology and modern self-development promotes it, that keeps you in fact deeply depressed, keeps you in fact deeply unhappy, and makes you feel like a failure. Because when I was 16, 17, 18, and I was trying so hard and I couldn't find any friends or any boyfriend that even was half as good as that list, I started internalizing it. I started saying, well, maybe it's me, maybe I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to tell you that all of this is shit, and there is one thing that you can do that is going to make you unbreakable. Believing that people will be people. What do I mean by that? First of all, we are meant to share our lives with multiple people, with more than one people, and I don't just mean sexually, because if that's not your thing, you don't have to do it. Or I have people who are watching me who are asexual. I mean that friends may come and go, even relatives may come and go, and that's fine. That's part of life. The more you chase the one Disney style, the more you chase the perfect friend, the perfect relationship, or at least the good enough, the more you set up yourself for failure. And this is where the second part of what I preach comes up. Expect the worst, in a good way. Expect that most friendships are going to not last. Most relationships are going to not last. And maybe there is one that you're going to be lucky enough and it's going to last forever. That's the exception. That's like winning the lottery exception. To last, not because the people are both leftovers, but because people are truly a good match. So when you see someone breaking up with you soon, somewhere in the future, you develop a whole different mentality compared to, I found the one, just because I have a ring, it's time to settle down. Those are the people who end up in the mental hospital with Xanax or having ingested too many Xanax to escape reality. Expect that anything can happen at any moment. We come alone and we go alone. That's what I always say, and I don't say this with pessimism. I say this with calmness and with independence. Okay, the world is so full of people, there are so many millions of people that would make you very happy. Yet, positive psychology says, no, there is most likely a one, there's whole soulmate, like a conspiracy theory on how to find it, on going to psychics, on going to psychiatrists, on losing 20 kg, on suffering, and in the end you don't find anyone. Also, someone who is a good match now may not be a good match 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. That doesn't mean you failed. That means that life took its course, that people change and often they grow apart. But again, no one tells you that. I had to learn the hard way. Another thing that psychology doesn't tell you is to lower your standards. By lowering your standards, I don't mean becoming a pick-me. I'm going to make a video analyzing pick-me's because Most people don't know what I mean. And analyzing Veras, which is my own new category. Lowering your standards means there may be a man who actually loves you very much, or a woman who loves you very much. If his or her favorite celebrity came and they say, would you spend the night with me? No one has to know. Most people would do it. Okay, most people would see it as long as no one knew. If someone came and told your wife $1 million for one night with me and no one has to know, your wife would most likely do it. That's human nature. That's nothing personal. That's nothing worth you being depressed. And it doesn't show anything about you. Like I said, if your wife came and said, like, someone asked me for $1 million for a night with me and I said yes, I wouldn't say what the hell. I would say, shit happens, let's split half and take our separate ways, or let's open our marriage, or let's do something else that works. Because society very, very often is teaching us inflexible things and doesn't prepare us for the normal bumps on the road. I was reading a research today that it said that the more years you're married, the more likely you're going to cheat. Okay. And yet no one tells you that. People say to you, you gave vows for better or for worse. And yeah, there are people who brainwash themselves into not cheating. They are the minority. So it's better to live your life enjoying every day. But if the day becomes less enjoyable, you have a backup plan. You have systems that work for you. What does that mean? It means you don't become a stay-at-home mom who is just a mom like my stupid sister-in-law, so that someone makes 100% of the money and he can fuck you royally and go away and you don't even know what's inside your bank account. You want to be stay-at-home, totally fine. Start a business. Start your own system that even if this guy develops a cam-girl addiction and burns all of your money, you still have your money. Okay. I've lost count of how many people are destroyed and they're messaging me and they're contacting me and they say, I lost everything overnight. Yes, because you believe the Disney story that after that it was happily ever after. You know why the Disney story stops at the wedding? Because real shit starts after the wedding and no one's going to tell you. And it's the same with friendship. It's the same with working as business partners. I'm always saying it, never do business with your family. It's destructive. So I realized that they're trying to tell us that we are not good enough, that somewhere there is the one and other people have the one and we don't have it, or other people have friends for 20 years and we don't have them and we are lucky. Those people are either LARPing, like LARPing is for role playing, it's incel terminology, or they're just lying, or they're posting 40 fake selfies on Facebook. And if someone found the one somewhere, like somewhere in Tasmania, somewhere in the Yamanashi Mountains in Japan, that's the same for me as a guy who won the lottery. Like, good for him. I'm not going to plan my life based on winning the lottery. If I win, that's great. We don't even need the backup plans and the systems that they work for us. If we don't win, we're still going to have an awesome life. So one of the biggest sources of suffering in life is your own self-induced brain Ebola and self-induced psychosis, and the media-induced brain Ebola and psychosis. We have been told those things ever since we're little children, and since life is so hectic, we never even stop to say, does that actually make any sense? Do I really even want that? I'm going to share something personal for me here, because usually it becomes too much for me to share my entire life story in one video, although many people are asking me questions, so I'm going to start sharing bits and bytes. I lived with a mother that she put great importance on marriage. And because she's a narcissist and she deeply hated me, ever since I was like 3 or 4 years old, she would tell me this like a mantra, like hundreds of times per week. You're a filthy, dirty psychopath and no one is ever going to marry you. What are we going to do? You're a leftover. I was a leftover woman at 4 years old. I knew the word psychopath at 1 year old, and I didn't know exactly what it meant, but by her look and her non-verbal communication, I knew it was bad. As a result, when I became a teenager and when I became rebellious, I started saying, I'm not going to get married. I'm not going to get married, bitch. You found some moron to marry you. You think I can get married? So I'm going to share something here that I don't like about myself, but it's a black pill channel and everything is out there channel because I don't want people blackmailing me. I'm tired with that. You can blackmail me with shit I'm sharing. I'm going to tell you something. You know about me that I have 2 marriages, not exactly successful ones. You don't know that I have 3 past engagements as well, right? You don't know that. I don't think I've ever shared that on the channel with men from 3 different continents. And when I say engagements, I don't mean Facebook engagements like, oh my God, let's get engaged, just Facebook chats and talks. I mean someone meeting me, rings, parents involved, all that shit involved, and me ditching things last moment as usual. All of this was a result of whole thing that, oh my God, you need to be married. Oh my God, there's someone for everyone. You're going to find him, and then you're going to prove your bitch mother wrong. And then I realized one day, am I really a person who actually enjoys marriage? Does it really work for me? And then I came to the shocking realization that if it was up to me and I could turn back time, I would never get married to anyone. I'm not a marriage type of person. So I realized that, okay, you're going to say here now, why aren't you a marriage type of person? I will analyze this in another video, but I'm going to say that I don't believe in monogamy, I don't believe in long term, and definitely I don't like routine, which are all things that usually marriage has. So if I could turn back time, I would have saved so much heartbreak, money on rings, money on stupid shit, money on airplane tickets, and just not get married and say to people, let's date when we're happy and break up when we're unhappy. And that's that. So for the younger ones of you that you're watching me, the Generation I, because I have many Generation I people who are watching me, Generation I are people that they were born after the millennials, like they were like 1996 and after that year. Don't just accept whatever is being served to you. It's Disney programming. You're supposed to want to get married. You're supposed to want to have kids. You're supposed to have good friends, like awesome friends, superhero friends, like in the movies, superhero boyfriends, like in the movies. And you don't have that and you feel like a failure because that shit doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. You can be awesome friends with someone, enjoy the 2 years, and then go your separate ways. And that doesn't mean that the friendship was of low quality. That doesn't mean that the relationship was of low quality. Do you know what's low quality? Do you want me to tell you? 22-year-old friendship with someone who's a snake, abusing you, stealing from you, lying to you, talking shit about you to others, and keeping you a slave. Okay, and not in a good way like Freedom Slave or BDSM slave. I'm talking about the traditional way of actually torturing you and keeping you like down. That's a bad friendship. It's time to end this stupid belief that if we broke up, our entire relationship was a failure. If we stopped being friends, we wasted our time, and now let's go back to the hunting of finding the one. I'm always saying, Mark Twain said, to quit smoking is the easiest thing in the world. I've quit smoking hundreds of times. I'm saying, from my own experience, to find the one, it's the easiest thing in the world. I found the one, I don't know, dozens of times. The soulmates find me like weekly now. There is some guy in some type of the planet, some place, that finds my channel and oh my God, we're meant to be together. It's not like that. It's not like that. The more you stop believing in destiny and meant to be together and Hollywood moments, the better your life should be. And I'm not going to tell you 100% with certainty there is no destiny, but even if there is, it's going to happen by itself. Like, stop trying to force things. Stop trying to force people who don't want to be with you or who don't add anything into your life to stay in your life. It just sucks. It's self-sabotage. Okay? And I had my friends mocking me and calling me Diamond Lady because I would always end up with rings, and then I would sell the rings on eBay because, you know, I was massively engaged, but I was also an entrepreneur, and I've made thousands of dollars selling the engagement rings because usually the men were too offended and they didn't want the rings back, although I offered to give them, and that was lame. Okay, that was lame. You don't do that. Don't get yourselves in marriages, relationships, and friendships just for the sake of it. Okay, and I'm going to plan to talk a lot about programming, about things that society is putting us on autopilot to think that we need and we want, and we're going to be unhappy without it, when it's the exact opposite. You're unhappy because of it. If I count the times the marriages and the relationships gave me problems versus the times that made me happy, the times where I got problems were way, way more. Okay, thank you for watching.